We're changing it up today because
We're not
one we
changing.
have
Playmaker changed it.
a PLE this weekend. That's
Playmaker changed it.
that's Tuesday night. Darn right, I changed it. So smart. I had to think of something, and I was like, you know what? Can't do the number out on this one.
Whatever you say,
And
sir.
and then
Different opinions on this topic. So
yeah, definitely different. It's gonna be interesting. And Thursday morning happened, which not a lot of words had to be said. There's some fact that Mr. Cool said, well, I guess we know who the legendary wrestler of the week gonna be.
yeah, that
He simply
message came
said,
out. Actually,
yes.
the message didn't come out till Friday. I was surprised. I thought
Oh
that was
yeah.
going to be sent Thursday, 5 minutes afterwards.
I worked Thursday, so I was too busy in the working world, and that's why you got the message there. But this week we're gonna start the show off with the legendary wrestler of the week because one Mr. Hulk Hogan passed at the age of 71. I think a lot of people were surprised that he was 71. They thought he was older than that.
That's fair.
But when news broke, Cole Johnson was one of the people I was like, you know what? You got to open invitation Monday.
So let's be clear. Cole Johnson
Okay.
has extended the
Let's be-
invitation whenever he would like to come on. Doesn't matter what we're talking about. Let's be clear.
No,
About
he does,
Thank
but
you, sir.
he does. But I said this one, yeah, we can get this one in. If we can get Mr. Wise and Heavy on here, that would be even better.
Did you send him a notation,
Mhm.
sir?
Oh, I definitely did.
Okay. Well, shout out to Real Wise Radio in case Wise, the wise one, El Jefe himself, is not able to make it because he may have prior things going on. Shout out to Real Wise Radio. Either way it goes, baby.
So, but
Yeah,
since I'm
definitely shout out to Real
the youngest of the group, I'll let my two brothers go first when it comes to the
All right.
one Immortal Hulk Hogan.
You go ahead, Mr. Johnson. You are our pseudo guest.
All right. Well, I mean, I can wax poetic on. He captured the imagination of people when he was the WWF champion, and before then, he started in Rocky 3, and before then, he actually had a stint in the WWF before WWF before, and all throughout that time, yeah, he was probably the focal point of the 80s in wrestling. But even in that regard, and of course, yes, in the 90s, he decided to be the number one bad guy or heel by being the leader of the NWO. And I mean, I could go on and on about all of that. However, how can I put this in a wonderful way? I don't ever want to see anyone die, but in seeing the news, my blood ran cold because he died, if I'm not mistaken, 10 years on the very day he decided to call those who look like Playmaker and Cool and myself Negras. And that's not the word he used. And he
With a
actually
hard E.
posted, hard ER. And went even further to say, I am a racist. I'm a racist to an extent. Went on to actually have this tirade that was recorded. This was not perceived. This is actually recorded. So and I'm seeing takes on. Well, I mean, you have to give him credit for this guy. I don't care what his politics are. I don't care what his history's been. He's the greatest wrestler that's ever lived. No, he's not.
Definitely not that. Definitely not that.
No. Now, is he the biggest star in wrestling history? I would say yes. But he's not the biggest star of the company. He's not the biggest star the industry's ever produced. That to me is The Rock, because he went on to actually kill another industry. He's not the one who made the industry the most money. That's Stone Cold. So his history is checkered. His history is colored with controversy. And as wonderful as he was as a character, unfortunately, as a person, he leaves a lot. He left a lot to be desired. And again, prayers to the family, prayers to his wife. But with others who passed, where I felt something, I felt absolutely nothing for Terry Bollea's death.
I'm going to hit you close to Mr. Johnson, but just a little bit more to the left. As a kid, Hulkamania, pray, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, Real American, all that. And as I got older, I kind of realized, wait a minute, Real American. That kind of already had me thinking, like, Real American, like, what is a Real American? And then he kind of explained it with his support for Donald J. Trump, his N-word with the hard ERs multiple times. Bubba Love the Sponge or whatever, Bubba the Sponge, whatever, on his show multiple times, showing out, using phrases that will get your hind parts whooped in the wrong parts of the country.
Yes.
And the thing that disappointed me was the fact that we have house Negroes in the WWE today. I'm not going to name nobody, but you house Negroes know who you are.
I'm glad I didn't address that.
Said anything about this man using the hard ER and talking about if you're going to mess with one of those hard ERs, at least get one of them that's 7-8 feet tall to play basketball. So I can have me some little half ER grandkids that make us some money one day. The fact that so many people are uptight and some that look like me, Playmaker, and Cole Johnson about people bringing up the fact of what this man said, and the fact that so many people are overlooking that altogether, acting like it didn't happen. But here's my thing. And people are going to say, oh, this is not the same. But we still won't even talk about Chris Benoit. And yeah, he murdered people, but we know that there was CT involved. So there was probably bad cognitive thinking at the time. We don't celebrate his career. We don't celebrate New Jack's career. We don't celebrate Superfly's Jimmy Snuka career. We don't celebrate these guys because of things that happened to them. But we push all that aside when it's Hulk Hogan, brother. And we act like none of that happened. So that's my issue. But back to Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, he did make changes to the industry. He was a star, but he was pushed to be that.
Yeah.
Now, he took it and ran with it, but he was pushed to be that. He was given the opportunities. And if somebody else didn't pop right away, it was given back to Hogan, i.e. Ultimate Warrior, i.e. Randy Savage.
Right.
And the others. So if Hogan gets 2-3 years to get over, and other guys get 3 months to get over, 6 months to get over, doesn't seem quite equal. Now, again, this is not to take away from Hulk Hogan, the wrestler. Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, I can separate from the racist, bigot piece of trash that was Terry Bollea. Okay? So Hulk Hogan, the industry will miss you. But as the fans let you know with your last appearance, because of the things that you've done off the wrestling side, you don't have the same love that you would have had you not done that. And let's be clear, there are other people who have said or done probably worse things. But when it's discovered, when it's put out there, that's when we know who you truly are. You know, like I said, the wrestler, I can push him to the side and say he's going to be missed for what he did in the past. Right now, even before he passed, I could care less about seeing him in the ring seeing him around wrestling anymore because of the things that he said as the person that he truly is. That guy, I'm gonna go with Cole and say, I wasn't like, yes, Hogan died. Forget that piece of scum. But I wasn't like, oh no, Hulk Hogan died, man. It's terrible. I was just like, oh man, Hulk Hogan passed away.
Yep.
You made yourself a person to me, and obviously to Coach Johnson, a lot of other people in wrestling groups I'm in, that you cannot have the same love because of the bigotry that you showed, the hatred and racism that you showed toward people that look like us. And I will not sit here and praise you as a person when you did that. I will not. Some will, and if you want to, that's on you. I'm not going to do it. But my condolences do go out to his family and friends, because you lost your fellow bigot.
Oh.
That's all I got to say about that.
Fellow bigot.
Birds of a feather flock together. Ain't that what we've been taught our whole lives?
Birds of a feather fly together, yeah.
And you want me to follow that?
You the one that wanted to go last.
Okay, so.
And Cool was perfect. He's spot on with everything. He said, spot on.
Appreciate that.
I don't even know where to go from here. That's why I was saying I would let y'all go first, because y'all had no more about that time period than me, for obvious reasons.
I'm just saying. Tell me to go first.
I was introduced to Hulk Hogan when he was in WCW. The way Coach Johnson would like to put it, he wasn't Hulk Hogan. He was Hollywood Hogan.
By then, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I was introduced to Hulk Hogan, the NWO, and WCW. For those of you who don't know about me, my sister who's in the chat and my brother, they got me to watch wrestling. The first thing they got me into was WCW. It wasn't until the late 90s until I was introduced to the WWF at the time, known as WWE. So when I first introduced to Hulk Hogan, I thought he was always the bad guy. Made all the rules, got to do whatever he wanted to do, and everybody got to bow down to him in the NWO. So got to see one of the most famous things that happened in WCW when he teamed up with Dennis Rodman and Diamond Dallas Page and Karl Malone on the other side while doing the NBA Finals, by the way. It's still one of the craziest things that I have ever seen. Playing each other in the finals, and we gonna wrestle each other as well.
It was definitely different.
Yeah,
I was obviously willing to put Goldberg over in Atlanta, becoming the first undefeated man to hold the World Heavyweight Championship. He would go on to do other rivalries with Sting, and I don't think he did a rivalry with Macho Man in WCW. I think that was WWF only. And then, of course, he comes back. Would that be 01 or 02?
02.
02. I want to say 02 because I knew it was after the invasion era, which is an underrated era in my opinion.
Well, thanks to the booking.
He comes back, NWO, they do that thing, and then he reverts back to what most people know him for. Hulk Hogan, the yellow and red, real American. All his storylines with Vince McMahon back then. And then in 2007 is when things got complicated surrounding one Mr. Terry. sex tape leak, the racist comments, and then people started to see who Terry was. And to piggyback off one of Cool's point, y'all got a backstage look at who Terry was, and not a Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan tell you say your prayer, eat your vitamins. And Terry was the, would you say the exact opposite of that?
Yes, he was the anti-Hulk Hogan in every way, shape, and form.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like the fact Cool brought up. I can put the performer in one side, and I can put the actual person on the other side. Because whatever side you on, I think both sides are missing it. Y'all just see for what y'all think or what y'all want to see him as.
Well,
It's too different.
I thought. Go ahead.
Because the way that my comments was going, I was like, well, darn. It's like it's either one way or the other. Ain't like, okay, first, let's be honest. Where wrestling would be where is that if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan?
Unfortunately, no.
So this is my answer to that question.
Unfortunately, no.
We don't know, because if someone else had been given the same opportunity, they could have possibly ran with it.
I agree with that sentiment, but
I do give him props for getting the ball and running with it.
right.
But I'm not going to go as far as to say, oh, no one else could have done that. Hulk Hogan changed the industry. We see that every time there's a hole, a vacuum, somebody comes and fills it.
I mean, look, I agree with the sentiment, but he was the guy that Vince McMahon pushed and people gobbled up in a way that no other has been gobbled up. But we have seen since then others who have been embraced even more and even louder than him. So yeah, I agree with you on that. It's just that he's the guy. He's the guy who's going to get the credit for being the number one wrestler ever. But to your earlier point, Playmaker, I thought he sucked as a performer. He was great at reading the room. Like he was charismatic, but in terms of just in the ring, even when he actually showed he can wrestle in Japan, he looked stiff. So as a performer, I didn't like him. As a character, I didn't like him. So it only fortified what I dislike about him as the human being.
So, I mean, you have the right to see it how you want to see it. And there are some of you out there that want to see him as the real American hero. And then there's those of you out there that want to see him as the racist guy that you come to find out he was.
Thank God for Kurt Angle.
And also, we have to point out the main reason that he kept getting the push was because he kept snitching on everybody when they were trying to unionize wrestlers so they could get better accommodations and things. He was the one that kept snitching. So not only was he a racist bigot, he was also a rat. I ain't going to say the second word, but you know.
And he also used his pull to stay on top and push others who, to me, I thought were better. Paul Orndorff, Roddy Piper, Randy Savage, just to name three.
Mr. Perfect never was a champion. That's almost
that is ridiculous. One of the best workers in that time period and never got a sniff at the championship.
Two of the people that you named, Cole, was never champions.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper never won the world title.
No. And Paul Orndorff never won it either.
You know why you can't win the title? If there's a reason why we call Becky Lynch Becky Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all know the staunchest person who's been coming to Hulk Hogan's defense. I'm gonna start calling her Tessa Hogan.
Oh Lord.
Tessa Blanchard.
No.
Of course, she would come to his defense.
Oh, Tessa Blanchard.
Nevertheless, he did change the industry for the golden era. That is what it's called, right? The golden era.
Or golden or golden era. Or the Federation era. Yeah.
I have never heard nobody say Federation era.
Yeah. Federation era.
I know Federation Golden. There was another thing they called it, but we just called it Golden Era. That's fine.
Well, yeah.
I think the golden era might fit the best. But however you want to see it, the man is profoundly known in the wrestling industry. He will be remembered for what he did in the wrestling industry. And if you don't like him as a person, you have every right not to. And it is what it is. But for this week, without question, there was nobody else we could put a legendary wrestler of the week but a Hulk Hogan. So as Cool said, thank you for your contributions to the wrestling industry, Mr. Hogan.